Philadelphia Eagles fans, I have been sitting here thinking about our wide receiver room, and honestly, the sheer amount of turnover since the A.J. Brown trade has me feeling like we are navigating a totally new landscape. Today, an update regarding Marquise Hollywood Brown is developing that could really shake up our expectations for the entire passing attack. It is fascinating because while some consider him just an insurance piece, his specific skill set might be the key to unlocking this offense in ways we are not anticipating. The more details come out, the harder it is to ignore the potential here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your name and city in the comments below so we can keep this conversation going. Let's get into it. Marquise Hollywood Brown is officially being written off by many in the media, but we need to talk about why he remains a vital piece of this Philadelphia Eagles roster after a chaotic offseason. We signed Brown to a one-year deal worth up to $6.5 million back in mid-March, a move that initially felt like a low-risk gamble to pair him with A.J. Brown. However, the landscape shifted dramatically when the front office traded A.J. to the New England Patriots in early June, subsequently bringing in Dontavion Wicks and drafting Makai Lemon at number 20 overall. And honestly, this is where it gets interesting because most fans immediately relegated Hollywood to the insurance column behind the new-look receiving core. For us as Eagles fans, the emotional reaction was mixed, ranging from frustration over the A.J. departure to skepticism about whether a veteran like Hollywood can still provide elite production. We have watched this team undergo significant turnover behind Devonta Smith, and many supporters fear we lack the explosive punch we once enjoyed. The truth is, while his career average of 11.6 yards per catch is modest, his blistering 4.27 speed is exactly what Nick Sirianni needs to stretch defenses and open the middle of the field for our younger route runners. The bottom line here is that his experience brings a necessary veteran savvy to a room full of newcomers like Elijah Moore, Wicks, and Lemon. While he might not be the blockbuster addition we once imagined, his specific role as a field stretcher makes him indispensable for our offense this season. We are only one hiccup away from needing him to carry a heavier load, and for that reason alone, his impact will likely have much longer legs than the critics are currently willing to admit. Fly, Eagles, fly. And here is where it gets interesting, because the narrative surrounding Marquise Hollywood Brown has shifted drastically since his mid-March arrival. When we signed him to that one-year, $6.5 million deal, most of us assumed he would be the primary replacement for A.J. Brown, but that expectation evaporated once the team traded for Dontavion Wicks and drafted Makai Lemon at number 20. Now, he looks like insurance. Yet we should remember that veterans with his specific skill set rarely stay on the sideline for long in Nick Sirianni's offense. Think about it this way. Brown has faced the defensive adjustment of teams playing safeties in the parking lot throughout his career, which artificially suppressed his production to a modest 11.6 yards per catch average. We have seen this gamble before with speedsters like Dazeen Jackson or even recent veteran bridge signings that seemed like afterthoughts until they suddenly opened up the entire field for guys like Devonta Smith. Behind closed doors, the front office and coaching staff likely view him as the ultimate tactical safety net. They know that relying on a rookie like Lemon or a newcomer like Wicks carries inherent risks, and Brown provides the professional floor they need to keep the chains moving. While his 4.27 speed was his calling card coming out of Oklahoma in 2019, his value today is pure veteran savvy. The truth is that while the media might be cooling on his impact, his contract guarantees his spot on this roster, and his ability to force safeties to respect the deep ball is exactly what creates the necessary breathing room for our route runners underneath. Even if he starts as the fourth or fifth option, the reality of the NFL is that depth is fleeting, and Hollywood is primed to prove that he still has plenty of legs left for this upcoming season. The truth is that Marquise Hollywood Brown represents a critical insurance policy for this team during a massive transitional phase for our wide receiver room. Following the trade of A.J. Brown to Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots, our entire vertical passing structure is undergoing a total metamorphosis that demands immediate stability. Bringing in Brown alongside Dontavion Wicks and rookie Makai Lemon fundamentally reshapes our depth chart, effectively moving us away from a top-heavy reliance on one star toward a more diversified threat level. While his cap hit is modest at $6.5 million, his presence is the linchpin that allows Nick Sirianni to keep our offense dynamic rather than one-dimensional. This shift matters because it provides the necessary speed to force opposing defenses out of their deep shell coverages, which will be vital when we face off against the newly revamped defensive schemes of John Harbaugh and our rivals in New York. If Wicks or Lemon experience rookie-level growing pains or transition hurdles, having a veteran with Brown's specific speed profile prevents our offense from stalling out in must-win divisional matchups. Looking ahead at our playoff trajectory, these tactical adjustments against the NFC East are what determine if we are hosting postseason games or fighting for wildcard spots. If we want to contend for another title, we have to stretch the field vertically to open up lanes for Devonta Smith underneath, and Brown is currently our best option to execute that high-stakes role. Honestly, the more I look at this rotation, the more I realize that while he might be viewed as secondary right now, his ability to manipulate secondary coverage will be the secret weapon that defines our consistency throughout the season. We have the pieces to dominate, so now it is time to fly, Eagles, fly. The beauty of bringing Marquise Brown into this offense lies in his specific skill set because his blazing speed provides the vertical gravity needed to keep safeties honest, which effectively clears out the intermediate zones for playmakers like Devonta Smith and Makai Lemon. This team desperately needs a deep threat to prevent defensive coordinators from crowding the box, and having a veteran presence with that specific profile ensures our young core has room to operate. However, we cannot ignore the statistical reality that his career average of 11.6 yards per catch is underwhelming for a supposed speedster, and his injury history adds a layer of uncertainty that could leave us thin if the depth chart takes a hit. Around the league, analysts are split, with some media pundits suggesting that Philadelphia is simply insurance shopping, while others argue this signing is a strategic masterstroke meant to exploit specific defensive coverages that prioritize preventing big plays. Some rival front offices even view this as a low-stakes gamble that could pay massive dividends if Brown finds his rhythm. And I will be straight with you. I believe Hollywood is the ultimate contingency plan that we might end up leaning on sooner than the experts anticipate. While the initial reaction to the A.J. Brown trade left many of us reeling, adding a veteran like Hollywood keeps this unit balanced rather than overly reliant on rookies. The coaching staff is clearly hedging their bets, and while he may not lead the league in yards, his impact on the geometry of our passing attack will be substantial as the season progresses. We need to keep a close eye on how he fits into the rotation during camp, because if he clicks with the quarterback early, his role will expand well beyond just being a depth piece. Fly, Eagles, fly. The bottom line here is that the Eagles are shifting toward a more versatile, depth-focused passing attack rather than relying on one solitary star receiver to carry the entire load. This franchise direction emphasizes speed and tactical mismatches, proving that Nick Sirianni and the front office are building a balanced ecosystem that can survive injuries and adapt to different defensive schemes. As Philadelphia Eagles fans, we should feel optimistic but cautious, because while the move away from A.J. Brown feels like a major loss, the infusion of youth like Makai Lemon and the veteran savvy of Hollywood Brown gives us a high floor for the offense. You should feel confident that this coaching staff finally has the pieces to stretch the field, creating the necessary space for our playmakers to thrive underneath. We are moving into a new era where chemistry and execution across the entire roster are prioritized over high-priced individual production, and that provides us with much-needed stability for the next few seasons. Think about it this way. If Hollywood Brown can effectively draw coverage deep, it opens up the entire playbook for our younger talents to excel. Now, I want to hear your take on this revamped room, so tell me, do you believe Hollywood Brown will finish the season with more than 500 receiving yards in this new system? It is a bold move to trade a superstar, but this strategy could be the key to securing another deep postseason run if everyone settles into their roles. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned for more exclusive updates, expert analysis, and thrilling game recaps as we continue covering the incredible journey of this talented Philadelphia Eagles roster.